So here we go, we've got the used car report for last month. The top 10 used car price contractions, all fuel types. The top 10 are all electric. Car Dealer magazine, James Batchelor. March saw used car prices jump. March saw used car prices jump, but oversupply is pushing down used EV values. Average used car prices rise again to 16,915 in March, up 0.1%. Typical March movement is minus 0.4%. Strong level of supply is pushing down used EV prices, but hang on a second, used EVs are flying off the shelves. So surely they would just, if that's true, then there wouldn't be an oversupply, there would be an undersupply and prices would be going up. But no, March continued to see supply outpacing demand for used electric cars amid a backdrop of rising second-hand car prices and faster selling times. Rising used car prices and faster selling times, but EVs have dropped. Latest data published by Auto Trader shows demand across the entire used car market was up 1% year on year, but this was tempered by a rising supply plus 5.7% year on year. Used cars are selling quickly, however, and taking an average of 25 days to sell, down 2 days from February. Petrol cars sold the quickest, taking 24 days. The average price of a used car in March was 16,915, up by 0.1% month on month, and marked the second consecutive month of price growth, said Auto Trader. Hasn't it marked yet another month of EVs going down and depreciating, but ICE cars going up? I think that's what it's marked. Typical March price movements see a 0.4% fall, said the company. Used EVs, meanwhile, continued to experience significant shifts, said Auto Trader. You see, because I wouldn't think 0.4% is what you would call a significant shift. So it's more than that, isn't it? Supply of second-hand EVs soared by 54.7% year on year, mostly due to the return of ex-lease vehicles, outpacing EV demand growth of plus 35.9% year on year. EV demand growth is going up 35.9% year on year. It isn't. EVs changing hands, EVs being marked sold new and then sold to a leasing company and registered to the leasing company. So 2 owners in a day, they're going up. People buying EVs realising they're not fit for their purpose, and then selling them on straight away, they're going up. Actual people who are satisfied with their purchase of an EV, that'll probably just be the same. That'll just be going up organically. It won't be going up at 35%. Honestly, the whole amount, all the EVs sold is 6%. And if you take away all the exaggerated, I bet it's more like 3%, if that. But there you go. This trend is only set to increase, said Auto Trader, as more new EVs are sold. Right, so demand will go up, but availability and supply of EVs will go up more than 54.7%. This imbalance is putting downward pressure on used EV prices. Second-hand electric car prices were down by 1.4% month on month to £25,190. So let me just go through this. Last year, 7.5 million used vehicles were sold. 7.5 million. So at the moment on Auto Trader, up to 2025, there's 30,000 vehicles available just on Auto Trader. 7.5 million divided by 30,052 equals. So there's 7.5 million potential customers for EVs that we know. And they can't sell a minuscule increase. In Colin, we'll just go through one of the guys' tweets. Second-hand EV sales grew by 57.4% in 2024. Since Auto Trader have said second-hand EVs have largely reached price parity with petrol, this is further proof that the demand for EVs is there when the price is right. So new EVs have tanked and are now worth less than a comparable ICE car. So the first owners lost a fortune. Cole's got a couple of other thoughts. Around 80% of car sales in the UK are second-hand. So 80%. There's only a few used EVs. The second-hand market will therefore have a critical role to play in helping most UK households make the transition to electric driving. So the second-hand market, they'll help you, and the people who bought them new, who've lost the shirts, they'll help you too. Obviously, its growth is dependent on supply, which is why the ZEV mandate is so important, because as it drives up new sales, which it did, EV sales in first year 2024 were over 21% higher than 2023. The quicker the second-hand market will grow as these new EVs are sold on. But they're not. So they've driven up the new car market, which has increased the used EVs coming onto the market, and prices have gone down because nobody wants them. I don't know why this guy does any tweets, because he's wrong every time he opens his mouth. Because as it drives up new sales, which it did, EV sales in its first year, 2024, were over 21% higher than 2023. The quicker the second-hand market will grow as these new EVs are sold on. But it doesn't, because it's oversupply. People don't want them. Here we go, 2. That was 1, by the way. 2, let's preempt the inevitable. Yeah, but second-hand EVs only accounted for 2.5% of sales. That's rubbish line. Well, when you put it into perspective, the used car market grew 5.5% and used EV sales only accounted for 2.5%. So they didn't even account for half the increase in the used car market. Let's preempt the inevitable. Yeah, but second-hand EVs only accounted for 2.5% of sales. That's rubbish line. Of course they only accounted for a small percentage. EVs are a new thing. Well, they're not, are they? And are only beginning to arrive. You see, when other things are new and they start arriving on the second-hand market, new Cavaliers. When the new Cavalier came out, there was a shortage of them. And the used ones were bringing nearly as much in auctions as the new ones were selling for, but you couldn't get new ones. So if somebody wanted one, they could only buy a used one. So the prices went up. But that's not happening for used EVs. Ask yourself why. I'll wait if you want. Now, have you come to the conclusion it's because people don't want them in numbers? Because that's what it is. Of course, they only accounted for a small percentage. EVs are a new thing and are only beginning to arrive on the second-hand market in significant numbers. And now they have arrived on the second-hand market in significant numbers, the price has tanked. The key thing is sales are growing. Sales up 57.4%. Market share up from 1.7% in 2023 to 2.5% in 2024. Sales in 2024, 13 times higher than sales in 2019. Yeah, but it's, you see, 13 times 1 is only 13. And like new EV sales, second-hand EV market share is only going to keep going in one direction, up. If that was the case, used EV residuals wouldn't be going down. Also, if that was the case, used ICE vehicles wouldn't be going up, because there's a heck of a lot more used ICE vehicles out there than there are EVs. And there's 7.5 million customers for them, fighting over 30,000 cars. Let's just have a look. Up to 2,000 will not electric off. Filter and sort, go to fuel, fuel type, 30,000 EVs, 234,000 petrols, 128,000 diesels, 64,000 hybrids, only 30,000 EVs. But they're going down. So again, Colin, I mean, as I say, actually what I was going to say is that, you know, I've been in the motor trade for 50 years, and I wouldn't know anything about his job, but it appears I know more than him, because he's in charge of the transport, and then he comes out with stuff like that, which clearly misinformed, to say the least. If you think I'm wrong, leave a comment. We'll go through it at a future date. This trend is only set to increase, said Auto Trader, as more new EVs are sold. So they're saying it's going to get worse. This imbalance is putting downward pressure on used EV prices. Second-hand electric car prices were down 1.4% month on month to 25,190. Richard Walker, Auto Trader's Data and Insight Director, said March's data reinforces the ongoing evolution of the used car market. It's an evolution. EV-olution. While price confidence amongst retailers is growing, the market remains dynamic, particularly with the influx of used EVs. So they're not confident, are they? Retailers who leverage real-time data and advanced pricing strategies, pricing their cars retail back. Just to let me clear that up, retail back. What you do, you say Auto Trader basically supply valuations, Cap supply valuations, but they're both wrong. they're both wrong. They think they're right, and Auto Trader are arrogant enough to think they're right, and they're just not. They're just not. So what dealers do, when they want to know a price, they make sure they've got AT price tracker, and whatever they're going to sell, they go on Auto Trader. What are you going to sell? Right, say we're selling a Tesla. I like Elon Musk. I think he's brilliant. And the more people try to knock him down, the more brilliant I think he is. Here we go, Model S. So we'll go on Model S. And then just make sure, they've munted me again. Relevance. Relevance shows you stuff that you don't want. Stuff that Auto Trader are being paid to show you, basically, and isn't in your best interest. We'll go to most recent. This is what we want. We want the most recent advertised vehicles, because those are today's prices. And you'll see here, Auto Trader are always going on about dealers underpricing cars. Fair price. Fair price. Fair price. Lower price. Lower price. And do you know why that is? Because if you have these vehicles in stock for over a month, you will lose money, because there'll be 2 price drops. And price drops on EVs, especially Teslas last month or the month before, were 3.5 grand. You don't have 7 grand in a vehicle. You don't have 3.5 grand in a vehicle, to be honest. You know, you can't put 3.5 grand across a vehicle. And here we go, just as an idea, just to give you an idea, we'll go here. That says low. Look at that, a Tesla for 9,900, Part X to clear. I don't like the sound of that. There'll be something wrong with that. What does it say? Drive away bargain. Well, I wouldn't like the sound of that. That sounds to me like they're trying to limit the customer's rights, which is just asking to get sued. What about this one? This one's done 86,000. It's £23,995, and that's a lower price. So we'll click on that. So, Auto Trader think that it's worth £1,513. If I'm selling an 86,000 mile 2020 and on a 20 reg Tesla Model S, then I ain't going to price it Auto Trader's price because it's just not going to sell. And next month it's probably going to be worth £1,000 less, £2,000 less, £3,000 less. You've got to sell it now. You've got to sell it within 28 days. If you take that car in at week 2, you've got 2 weeks to get rid of it. Trust me. You need to get rid of it quick. So, the prices, they mean nothing. They mean absolutely nothing. So that's it. Retailers who leverage real-time data, the data's shit. The only data that you need to use is AT Price Tracker. Another thing. This is the eye-opener. We did most recent, so we'll go to the bottom. Right, we're at the bottom. This is the eye-opener. Let's just check. You may also like add private seller. He listed his car on the 20th of the 4th, 2022, and it's still for sale. Here we go. A dealer, 31st of the 8th, 2022. He's done 3,281 miles. It's a 2020. Changed £26,000. No doubt it's still too high. Is that private? We'll get into the more realistic ones. Here we go. 3rd of the 11th, 2022. That's been advertised since. Gone down £8,500. That's down 10 grand. 12th of the 11th, 2022. 16th of the 11th, 2022. This is why you need, honestly, Auto Trader have told you to work from retail back there, haven't they? Yes? Do you think their retail's right? It's not, is it? Because if it was, that wouldn't be a fair price. So you work for it. That's how much. Oh, hang on, they haven't sold it though. So that's at fair price, but it's been for sale since November 2022. It's an EV that's flying off the shelf for Tesla. Great, can't get enough. Get your pricing wrong. Use the data. Use the data that you pay for. And you'll be looking at your car in another 2 years. Absolute bullshit, honestly. Absolute crap. Now we'll come to the retailers who leverage real-time data and advanced pricing strategies. Pricing their cars retail back will be best positioned to optimise margins and maintain a competitive edge in the months ahead. As the used car market adapts to shifting supply and demand trends, a data-driven approach will be essential for retailers to navigate the complexities and sustain profitability in the coming months. AT Price Tracker. If you're private, you get AT Price Tracker too, because you'll see how long it's been in stock, especially with an electric vehicle. You'll be able to see how long it's been stood there. What it's been charged at, whether it's done the battery any good or not. Top 10 used car price growth, all fuel types. First one, hybrid. Second one, plug-in hybrid. Petrols, really. They're petrols that drive around carrying, lugging a 3.5 persons weight battery that they don't use. Touareg, diesel. Hyundai i30, petrol. Mercedes-Benz S-Class, well that tells you something, won't it? Average asking price. Diesel. Honda Civic, petrol. Toyota Yaris, petrol. Toyota Land Cruiser, diesel. BMW X5, diesel. Volvo V60, diesel. They've all got a nice engine, haven't they? Now let's go on to the top 10 used car price contractions. All fuel types. These are all fuel types, okay? Top 10 used car price contraction, all fuel types. We saw that. That was all fuel types too. There was no electrics in that, was there? You know, there was a couple of hybrids masquerading as electric, which aren't really. Top 10 used car price contraction, all fuel types. BMW i5 electric. Vauxhall Astra electric. Well, the clue's in the title there. Honda eNY1 electric. Toyota BZ4X electric. Subaru Solterra electric. Vauxhall Combo eLife electric. Jeep Avenger electric. Volvo EX30 electric. Fuel type Lexus UX electric. Nissan Ariya electric. The top 10 used car price contractions, all fuel types. The top 10 are all electric.